Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conscious Conversations. I'm your host, Anthony Profeta, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Wes Gordon, and we're excited to welcome you to our very first show. How are you today, Wes?
Great. Fantastic.
Are you excited as I am?
Yeah, a little nervous.
Is it all the cameras and the microphone in your face, or?
Yeah. New environment.
Yeah, it's sort of a surreal experience. Could you believe that they gave us airtime?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you think people are ready for the conversations we're going to have?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, maybe since this is our first show, our premiere show, the best thing to do is maybe explain what Conscious Conversations is all about, and maybe a little bit about ourselves, too, because maybe a lot of people don't know who and what we are, those of you that are listening and tuning in and watching. But from my perspective, Conscious Conversations, the word conscious is, being awake, being aware, and conversations are a discussion about, topics and ideas. So here, I believe we're going to be talking about things that might inspire you, might motivate you, might make you think more deeply, but might also, at some points, maybe even irritate you or aggravate you, depending on what the topic is. But that's a good thing, because we want to get people talking. We want to help broaden perspectives and give people a new way to maybe look at things or think about things or contemplate things. Now, I'm not saying that we have all the answers. By no means do we. I don't believe that anyone can be that bold to claim they know everything. One thing that I've found throughout my particular journey is that the more I begin to learn, and I say I'm a continual student, the more I realize how much I still have to learn. But how about you? What's Conscious Conversations to you, Wes?
Yeah, you outlined it.
Perfect.
Pretty perfectly. Yeah, that's exactly. We're going to challenge you and talk about spiritual concepts and points of view that you may have not considered. And like Anthony just said, we're both learning and we don't know it all, but I'm brave enough to just poke the bear and try to find out more. I'm naturally curious.
And that's the thing, too. Our conversations, in case you're wondering, maybe, not worrying, or maybe you are worrying, too, but if you're wondering what Conscious Conversations are all about, we're going to touch upon topics that are spiritual, that are social, that are health-related, that are also mystical, and maybe even metaphysical. We're going to be talking about things from a variety of perspectives. So for those of you that don't know me, my background is quite broad. I was raised and born into a Italian Catholic family, but my slant has become a little bit more Eastern. Not in the sense that I disregard anything from the West. I believe that there is a huge comparison and an underlying theme to all traditions. And while did begin my journey in more of the sort of Western traditions, faith and philosophies, such as, Christianity and those point of views, I did begin to slowly go and study more of the Eastern traditions. And I did go to live in India and lived for some time as a monk in some monasteries of India and Nepal, and as well as studied meditation, mindfulness practices here in the United States with some very well-known teachers and some that you could even call meditation masters. If any of you are familiar with meditation teachers here in the United States, Jack Kornfield, Sharon Salzberg are two of my guiding teachers and mentors till today. And then I did get to spend 5 life-changing days with the Dalai Lama himself. But I say all of that for no other reason than to just say I'm very humbled to be able to share any knowledge or wisdom that I've gained from these people with, anybody who cares to listen to it or has questions about it. And my journey has taken me through really a study with many different modalities, many different teachers. I've studied with Tibetan lamas. I've studied with Buddhist monks. I've studied centering prayer and Christian contemplation with Christian monks. I did spend about a week in a Franciscan monastery in Italy studying with some Franciscan monks. And the one thing that I have found throughout the journey, though, is that no matter where I've been and wherever I've studied, I have had the blessed opportunity to be with every tradition. And I've prayed with Jews in their synagogues and temples. I've meditated with monks in their monasteries, in their temples and meditation halls. I've prayed with Christians in their churches. I've prayed with Muslims in their mosques, and even chanted with Jains in their caves in India. And I've always been very welcomed wherever I have been. But one thing that I have found is that there is a common theme throughout all of them, and that is just treating people with kindness, treating people as we want to be treated. And something I've also found very fascinating in my journey is that there is a whole other subsect of these religious faiths and traditions and philosophies known as the mystical traditions. And I know you, Wes, are pretty well versed in mystical traditions of the Christian faith. But one thing that I found universal about all mystical traditions is that they all aspire to tell us that there is something beyond this physical life, beyond our flesh and blood, beyond this sort of reality that we find ourselves in, but that is a deeper reality. Some may say a deeper truth that we can access. And no matter what tradition it is, whether it's the Christian mystics or the Buddhist mystics or the Hindu mystics or the Muslim mystics, they all agree that when you contact that, they describe it and talk about it in a very same way. No matter the path or the tradition that they followed, they always speak about coming into this reality that is a unconditionally loving essence in some ways, filled with love and bliss and compassion, and trying to bring that into the world and connect with that and have the direct experience of that in this lifetime is really what the mystics is all about. Because if you don't, get it before death, in many traditions, they say you got to come back and do this all over again. And so the goal for many of the mystics is to achieve the union or connection with that now. But why don't you share a little bit about yourself and where your perspective comes from?
Being born and raised in Owensboro, Kentucky, the Bible Belt of the United States, I started out at a young age trying to figure out the churches and the God thing. Didn't have a lot of emotional love in my family, so church was a natural moving point to try to find that missing thing where you could feel like you belonged and was cared for. So I had a tremendous experience when I was, quite young. So I got involved in it around 11 or 12, and it catapulted me into, deep learnings and studying the Bible with a vengeance. But as time went on, it was hard to live up to the standards that I was being presented with. And it seemed like there was something missing. So as I got older, I started rebelling against it and started running from it. But I was always curious, and I was always, looking and studying and trying to find out more. I was doing the self-improvements. I was checking out the different churches, the New Age, the light workers, the crystals, the auras. I was looking under every rock and
Native
corner.
American too, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely. I was drawn to that very mystically and checked into that because I felt a spirit there at the powwows that I'd actually only felt in church, and that just shocked me to pieces. How was that possible? Because it was told to me, this is exclusive, you're at the church. So I began to realize there was more to this story, and there was more beyond what you can actually see with your eyes. I knew that at 11 years old, but I didn't know how to translate it. So as time has went on, I've studied more and more, and up until about 5 years ago, I was running from it, but my world come to a screeching halt 5 years ago, and I just decided to quit running from that inner voice that was telling me there's more to life, and you can be more empowered, and it's there. I mean, I've always known it was there, but that's a big step to step into it and actually own it and express it and share it with others. And then I see so much suffering around me and confusion around the whole religious New Age stuff, and I don't see a lot of power. And I was like, I know that power exists. Why aren't people experiencing it? So that's why I'm here.
And that's a great point. And hopefully we can share some tools and practices that can give people some perspective and some ideas on maybe how to come into contact with that much more, because there is a great power to this world that not many people fully know how to tap into. But we've heard through many of these traditions through the ages that it is accessible, and there are ways to access that. And it's a a beautiful thing when you do find it. But I think we need to take a short break right now. So I hope you'll stay with us, and we'll be right back after these messages.
10, 9, 8.
Why did the countdown stop? Because it's the countdown to Buzz TV channel 1098, Comcast Xfinity, and it's here. Local content for Sebastian Vero and Fort Pierce. Tune in for local info, happenings, and fun, including all the great Planet Vero TV shows from 8 to 10 a.m. and p.m. Dial in channel 1098 for Buzz TV on your Comcast Xfinity box and discover what the buzz is all about. It's time to call Easy Brew Coffee and Bottled Water Service and learn just how much you can save and how convenient it is to have your coffee and bottled water delivered right to your home or office. In addition to water coolers, Easy Brew offers individual bottles of water in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. No more lugging it home or dragging it into the office. Serving the Treasure Coast for over 2 decades, 2 letters, 1 simple name. Easy for Easy Brew. Visit e-zbrew.com or call 800-792-3285. Easy Brew.
If you want a home that has the sophisticated style of the coast, come to Sunshine Furniture during the Tommy Bahama and Lexington half-price fall sale event. Now until September 30th, you save 50% on all bedroom, dining room, media, office, and occasional furniture with fresh finishes and rich textures that are made from materials that reflect the essence of coastal living. We're also having a showroom clearance on selected indoor and outdoor sofas, chairs, recliners, and dining sets from Brown Jordan, Four Seasons, Capri, and Best, and all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half off. Come to Sunshine Furniture now during the Tommy Bahama and Lexington half-price fall sales event. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach next to Planet Fitness. Don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store just across the street. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Are you becoming a realtor, contractor, mold remediator, guardian? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit a1afingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
And welcome back to Conscious Conversations. I'm your host, Anthony Profeta, and here with my co-host, Wes Gordon. And since this is our first premiere episode, we're sort of just talking about what Conscious Conversations is to us and what we'll be sharing on the show with all of you who are watching and listening. And we do thank all of you who are tuning in and joining us today. But we were just sharing a little bit about ourselves and our background. And something else that we're just going to be sharing on, this whole Conscious Conversations program is this whole idea that a lot of people are out there looking at the state of the world, wanting to change it. They don't like what they see. They want things to be different. However, the truth, and this might sound like a cliche at times, but the truth is to change the outer world, we really need to begin changing from the inner world. And, people think that, if we just pass laws, if we just do this or that society and the world will change. But what I've sort of seen throughout time is that once you begin to make laws, the first thing people do is try to figure out how they can get around that, how they can break those and find the loopholes. Well, if we really want to change the world, the change must come from ourselves. You probably heard that quote from Gandhi. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. Yes. And so truly a change comes, in my point of view, from the change of the hearts and minds of humanity. What is your take on, those that are out there wanting to change this world that they see we're in right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, me and you are totally in sync on those concepts about to have real lasting change, it has to happen inside the human heart. And until that's, compensated for, you're still going to keep recreating the same old scenarios over and over, thinking you got something better. But that old human nature comes back into play, and the next thing you know, you're back to selfishness, fighting, bitterness, and loneliness, and the whole thing. I know of a power, and you do too, that can give you a life that is beyond your wildest imaginations, and we've all been told about it, and we hear about it, But I don't think we ever got the how-to manual. I think we got the concept. And we're going to start breaking down how that actually works, what the functionality of that is.
And what about the fact that in today's world, it seems that many people are looking for the quick fix, that sort of magic pill, that, the least path of resistance, where on what we're going to be talking about, the truth is there really is no magic pill, right? This takes hard work, what we're talking about. The changing of people's hearts and minds, from my opinion, is overcoming habitual patterns that we have in place, overcoming things that have been, or ways that have been set over years. And so it's not like, somebody can sit for maybe one meditation session of 20 minutes and now all of a sudden their heart and mind has changed. This takes a little bit of more dedication, right?
Absolutely. There's a total discipline to this. And most people don't come to this place. They won't even hear these words until they have some major breakdown. They have to, something has to force you to want to change, usually. I mean, some people just get naturally curious and step into it. But yes, I fought, kicked, and screamed. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It wasn't a pleasant thing to step up into this level and decide, hey, this is real, and I'm going to share it, and I'm going to live it. I'm going to quit running from it, and I'm going to understand it fully, to the best of my ability, and share it with others too.
Beautiful. And also, I've noticed that many people, especially those who have come from like meditation or mindfulness practice, when they're looking to sort of begin to look within themselves, sometimes there's a hesitation because they're often afraid about what they'll find. But I believe that if they can push through those sort of beginner fears, they'll come into contact with, as you said, this greatness or this potential, this unrealized force, powerful force within them that is quite beautiful. And they truly learn to, in that moment, know thyself, which we've been told for thousands of years to do. I mean, that was inscribed at the entranceway to the Temple of Delphi in ancient Greece, as they were walking in to get like an oracle or a message from the gods. The first thing they came into contact with was the sentence or the statement, know thyself. But how many, people out there are really taking the time to know themselves on the deepest level? As I said, a lot of people out there want to change the world. And I'm glad, I'm happy, because, in some ways that is needed for people to step up and want to do that. But few people want to do the work to change themselves. And there is a quote by Rumi, which I love, who is a Sufi mystic. And he said that yesterday I was so clever, I wanted to change the world. But today I am so wise that I am changing myself. Yes. And I think that's really where this all begins.
Absolutely. And that's the kind of conversations that we're going to have and keep dwelling on. And you asked me earlier, what's our next shows and stuff going to be about? And I'm like, hey, let's poke the bear. Let's push out our limits. Like I've read that book says there's 3 heavens.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there was 1, but no, it says there's 3.
I know which book you're talking about.
Yeah. There's more to this story, and there's all types of things. Is there a devil? And if there is, what is the role of it? How does it exist? Sin, what's that? I mean, these are questions on the surface that people think have been answered, but have they?
Right.
What's God? Do you really know? Do I really know what God is?
Can we really know?
Exactly. And let's check things out like that. And that's, you never know with this.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this program.
That is. And that's why I love having these conversations with you also. But just another thing that I do want to share with people is that this is also going to be very practical stuff that we're talking about too, not just sort of, the metaphysical new age sort of some things that people might think is like, out there sort of ideas. Because my background prior to getting into meditation and mindfulness was actually in medicine. I started my journey in a medical school in New York City, going to work on that path, thinking I was going to become a doctor. But for multiple reasons, one being the fact that, they don't often get to the underlying root cause, which the American Medical Association proves the number one cause of 80% of all illness and disease in this world is stress. but we often treat symptoms, and meditation and mindfulness practice does get to that. So one of my passions is trying to bridge science and spirituality. And that is a big one because I believe they're firmly supportive of one another. They're not at odds with one another, as some people out there do think, like a spirituality versus science. I don't believe that at all. And many people didn't. I mean, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Niels Bohr, Louis Pasteur, Carl Sagan, they all agreed that spirituality and science were complementary, not at odds with one another at all. And some of those men are Nobel Prize-winning minds. So they were deep thinkers, and they were very intelligent, what some people would call geniuses. And one of my favorite quotes when it comes to science and spirituality does come from Werner Heisenberg, who again is another Nobel Prize-winning scientist, physicist. Actually, he won the 1927, I believe, Nobel Prize for his idea in quantum physics, and is considered the father of quantum mechanics. But he has said that the first gulp from the glass of natural sciences will make you an atheist. But he said, God is waiting for you at the bottom of that glass.
Wow.
Yeah, and I find that a beautiful.
Profound.
Right?
Very much so, yeah.
And he's the father of quantum mechanics, quantum physics, all these things that I believe are firmly supporting spirituality today.
Yes.
So that's another thing I do want people to know, that we're going to sort of bridge that gap to let people know that they're just talking about the world in the same way, but using different terminology. You know, our ancient ancestors didn't have quantum physics and chemistry and biology to describe the world around them, so they were describing the universe in different terms or different language, the language of their time, compared to today, which are speaking about the language in a very, very different way, because they have these specialized areas to describe the world around them.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating how it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and I believe we're slowly stepping into the point where we're recognizing that more and more.
Yes.
Yeah. And we need to see that. We need to see that the unity between all these sort of different areas where they look at as maybe being separate from one another. Because at a fundamental level, we're all supportive and we're all interconnected with each other.
Absolutely.
But I think we're running out of time for today. That sort of went very quick. I wasn't expecting it to go as fast as it did. But for those of you that are joining us, that are watching us, we do thank all of you that are out there. I thank you, Wes, very much for being on this, being my co-host and on this program with us. Any of you that are in Indian River County, you can watch us on Buzz TV on Comcast Xfinity, channel 1089. We will also be uploading our show into a podcast that's on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart Radio, iTunes. But please, since this is our first show, just give it some time to be uploaded. iTunes and those other channels need to take some time to get them onto the platform. But you'll be able to find us there and listen to the program again at your convenience or any time that you want. And you can also find us. We'd be happy for you to join us at our Conscious Conversations community on Facebook. As we get deeper into our conversations, we will be continuing our conversations on Facebook and hoping that you in our community will also add your thoughts, add your ideas, and maybe even bring up some topics that you would love us to discuss on this show. Because we really want to keep this conversation going, not just between me and Wes here, but we want to keep this conversation with you as well. We love you all, we thank you all, and we hope that each and every one of your days is truly filled with an abundance of love, happiness, and peace. Have a blessed day.